Wait, did you guys think that I was actually gonna do this without commentating or putting any background music? It's not like I would do that to you guys ever. I, I'm I'm 100% serious. Alright, so me and my dad are back at Raceway Woods. We started the day at Silo Hill. It's a short climb and it gets the legs warmed up. Alright, so here's a little background between me and my dad riding mountain bike trails. We've been to local places like Raceway and Sawiki, but we've also been to trails like the Emma Carlin and John Muir trails in Kettle Moraine, which are really nice, to the Gravity Cavity in near Hayward, which is also really fun. We've rode all three trail systems up in Marquette, Michigan, the Rocky Trails, where they hold the Margie Gessick every year. We've been to Brown County, Indiana, a state that you would not expect there to be great mountain bike trails. And you bet that we've rode both the Appalachian and Rocky Mountains. Made it to the top. The first loop we did was Little Monza. This trail has a couple of neat features if you go in the direction that we went. There's a couple of jumps after that berm. I really like this little switchback, followed by a short climb. This upcoming rollover is probably my favorite feature of this trail. Here's another rollover that will be followed by a jump. Yeah, so I'm not the best jumper, but my dad does well, so I'm hoping I can learn from him. Here is another rollover. We then rode Serpentine, where most of my favorite features are. This feature used to be a little more tricky, but weather has changed it and now it's a little bit easier. This part of the trail is just so much fun to ride, riding up that side of the dirt. So me and my dad like to get around 10 miles in when we go to Raceway. So of course we're gonna go and do our favorite features again. This section of trails is relatively new to Raceway, so I don't know if it has a name or not yet. This is probably the best feature on the trail. Before the feature, you have to be careful of those two trees because it's pretty tight and you can't be going fast there. Otherwise you're probably gonna crash and hit the trees. Yeah, so after the jump, you got this nice flowy section, except for that tree stump, but it's pretty much all flow in a straight-ish line. Alright, so that feature that my dad just backed out of is a tricky one. You gotta get your back tire up pretty high. And I'm not ready for that yet. Hopefully I will be eventually. But my dad did end up doing it later on as we did more loop. The trail continues on with a bit more of flow right next to where the racetrack used to be. So we rode the newest trail at Raceway. This is our first time riding it without snow. We did try riding it in the winter with snow and that didn't turn out well, so we left halfway through it. This section needs a little bit of speed to get through, and to do that you need to pedal, which is a problem because your pedals are constantly hitting the dirt and it's chipping the actual feature. So it needs a little bit of work. In the winter we split off to the right there, so the rest of the trail is completely new to us. The second half of the trail was definitely more fun to ride. And with that, we finished the trail. We did ride the new trail the other way just to see if it was a bit better than the way we originally went. Now, I might not be the best at jumps, but I am decent at climbing. I did ride that where my dad couldn't. It was a bit of a technical hill. And usually when we are riding, I always leave my dad behind on the hills. Most of the trails at Raceway seem to be two-way trails, and this one doesn't seem to be an exception. Here we go. Yeah, we still needed to pedal at the first few, but I feel like with a little bit more work it can flatten out and can still be a good trail. So we like the trail, it just needs a little bit more work. We continued on Serpentine. This part of the trail is fast but doesn't have very many features. At this turn you have to be careful of your speed because there's a bunch of loose sand right there. The trail gets a little bit flowy as you get towards the path. We are now on Scrab's Revenge, probably the most difficult trail in the system, and it starts off with that mini pump track. The upcoming section is technical. It kind of starts off with that turn, and then it gets a little bit easier, and then you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Alright, here it comes. So this feature is one of a few that I just can't quite master yet. I have rode it before, but I've only done it a couple of times. I did the feature 2 more times with still no success. I'll get it eventually though. Alright, so the next feature is this switchback that ends in a jump, but you need a lot of speed for it. Alright, so the upcoming feature is probably the most iconic feature at Raceway. It's sort of this half pipe. It goes down and then up. Really cool. Again, a feature to do multiple times. This is one of the steepest hills at Raceway. Now there is another one that's a little bit north of the trails here, but that one's more annoying than challenging because there's a bunch of loose rocks. Cool jump, Dad. I'd just like to say thank you to Camber and the Main Street guys who maintain these trails and build new trails. They're really awesome. Now, some of you guys might not know that Camber is the one that manages these trails. So if you frequently ride these trails, I'll provide their website in the description, and I hope that you can donate and help maintain these beautiful trails. So thank you, Camber and Main Street Bikes. Alright, here's another rollover. I also think that this rocky path here is pretty cool as well. Alright, here's the creek crossing.
Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.